Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Good.
I think Grewal sir is there. Grewal sir, good evening.
Good afternoon, Ashish ji.
Good afternoon, sir.
कैसे हैं आप?
Abhi to sir still the same. Abhi I
think
can't say better now.
This team will rock today, sir. Aaj.
Gaurav sir, good evening.
Gaurav must be muted.
Gaurav is muted. So Gaurav, I requested you to replace me here, but you didn't agree to that.
He was explaining to me why he didn't.
With warm greetings, I extend my warmest welcome to the talk show Education 4.0 for Safe, Sustainable Societies.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the talk show organized by Samurja Educational Society on the theme Education 4.0 for Safe, Sustainable Societies. We appreciate and applaud everyone, our panelists and participants for the zeal to share and passion to learn with Samurja. Samurja means sum of creative energies. Here is a small video what Samurja does.
Samurja Educational Society, established in the year 1991, has completed its gratifying journey of 3 decades. The society was conceptualized with the objective of educating children and preparing them to be morally upright and vocationally independent. Ever since its inception, the society has continued to take tiny steps forward, redesigning the educational fabric in all possible ways through various educational activities, besides conducting social outreach programs like the Girl Next Door and the Charity Wall. Samurja is constantly striving to bring together some of the most ignited minds in the field of education to introduce change in the educational fabric of the nation by providing educational vision, empowering educators, inspiring learners, and elevating various organizations through training sessions, panel discussions, talk shows, conferences, and symposiums. The society has also conceptualized and published periodicals and magazines for students and teachers. Samurja continues to explore new domains, trends, and landscapes to enrich the educators across the country by equipping them to resolve the academic challenges in their classroom to make teaching and learning more joyous and engaging. It also helps educators realize their vision and collaborate with national and international educators to have sustainable societies and a happy nation, thus redefining the paradigms of Indian education. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
Accounts is an important domain of everyone's personal and professional life. Accounting refers to the process of documenting, reporting, and communicating financial information about an individual or an organization. Accounting plays a vital role in running an organization, institute, or a business enterprise because it helps us track income, expenditure, ensure statutory compliance, and provide to investor, management, and government with a quantitative financial information. This quantitative information is important to make further decisions. Another important reason to understand accounting is to push the organizations, institutes, and business forwards for a long-term stability and sustainability. The skill of accounting is highly useful and always in demand. we are able to manage our finance more effectively, besides improving our decision-making capabilities. There is a common misconception that finance and accounting should be known only to professionals. Rather, it's a need of every individual. Financial accounting is critical for every individual for the personal understanding and the benefit, besides being an effective employee of the entrepreneur. To know more about accounting or accountancy, we have with us who is also known as the encyclopedia in accounting. I don't remember a student or a teacher of accountancy or the commerce stream who doesn't have a book by Shri Grewal. So our very dynamic resource person for the day is Dr. G.S. Grewal. I request Grewal sir to please switch on your camera and extend the verbal greeting to our audience.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I am privileged to be on the show. And in fact, I am always willing to be where the education is. And you very rightly said, accounting is the backbone of everything, for every activity. And this backbone has to be strengthened from the days of the school, when the education is big for the accountancy beginners. A foundation, solid foundation has to be laid down so that we have a good accountants or good professionals in the country. Thank you for having me on the show.
Welcome, sir. Welcome again. Another dynamic, versatile school leader and a young principal, again, who has been the resource person of accountancy with various CBSE and other bodies, Mr. Ashish Sahni, Principal, Bal Bharti Public School, Ludhiana. We welcome Ashish sir. Please extend the verbal greeting to the audience.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Pandey sir, and thank you, Samurja. I'm so sorry. I must start by saying sorry because due to some unfortunate circumstances, I would not be able to participate for a long time because I'm being advised by doctor not to sit for a long time. So, but I am totally and completely assured that Grewal sir is going to take this forward and address all the issues that I was supposed to do. Thank you, and my apologies in the beginning itself.
Thank you, Ashish ji. We do understand Samurja will always be indebted to you, despite of your injury in your back. The doctor has advised you complete bed rest. Still, despite of our saying that you may take rest, you may take a skip, but you kept your promise and you said that no, I'll be on the show. Welcome, Ashish sir. Welcome to the show. So today's session is going to be a very different session. I request Monica ma'am to please welcome and introduce our guest with a musical note. you, Monica ma'am. We also have our mentor, Dr. Ashok Pandey, Director, Elcon Group of School and a leader par excellence. Welcome, Dr. Pandey, to the show.
Thank you, Muktaji. Thanks a lot.
Another mentor of ours is Dr. Rajesh Sasija, Director, Indraprastha Group of School. Again, a very versatile, very dynamic person. Dr. Sasija, we welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Mukta. Indebted for all your guidance support in making me and my team well aware about the latest issues of education. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Without further delay, I'll request Grewal sir to please share with us some of the nuances of the concept in accountancy and pedagogy. And then we will take a little forward where Ashish sir will share a little bit about NEP, the elements of NEP integration in accountancy. Ashish sir, please feel free. The moment you feel that, don't text yourself. That's a very kind request, right? So over to Grewal sir, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukta. And I thank Dr. Ashok Pandey, Dr. Rajesh Hasija, with whom I am sharing the dais for the first time. But it's always a pleasure to be with both of them, always. Although our interaction has not been much, but one of the finest personalities that I have met in the education. And I'm privileged to be here on the talk show organized by Samurja Educational Society on Experion Accountancy. The key question that always keeps bothering me is, who is a teacher? Is he a person who guides the students? Guides the students as to perform well in the examination and also have knowledge. But the answer, according to me, is that a teacher is a person who is a guide as well as a student. Why a student? Because we are in a dynamic time, dynamic world, where things can change any moment. And changes do affect our education system in totality. Small change in the field of law has an impact on accountancy especially. So that means our concepts of accountancy, the implication of law on accountancy has to be very clear and fundamentally very strong. Changes have come in the past, we all know, although we haven't taught our students about debenture redemption reserve under the change rules. But yes, a lot of changes came, and such changes will keep on coming. Schedule 3 of the Companies Act 2013 stands amended, because of which certain treatments will also change. So that means a teacher has to be always ahead, and that he can be if he's a student also. I very proudly say everywhere that at the age of 66, I'm still a student of accountancy and law. Because if I'm not a student, that means I have become complacent. And complacency damages the entire process. And the change circumstances, we have seen how COVID-19 has affected us. COVID-19, where we were used to classroom teaching, has taught us how to do the IT-based education. And still, the examination pattern has changed. Examination pattern has changed to multiple choice question-based question paper. And what does it mean? That a student should be very, very thorough about the concepts. If I talk about accountancy, the concepts of basic accountancy have to be very, very strong. Because in MCQs, if we see the sample question paper, it has been divided in 3 parts, basic broadly. One is concept-based questions, another is application-based questions, and third is case study-based questions. So concepts have to be very, very clear. And now I think the focus of teachers have to change. It has to change from score-based focus to knowledge-based focus. And my belief is that the change system is for good, because a student can be tested for virtually the entire syllabus. Say in accountancy, with 45 questions to answer out of 55, that means students can be tested from anywhere. And examination, we all will agree, it's not only the test of knowledge, it is also the test of time management. I am of the firm belief that time gone is gone forever. Life, according to me, is not like a whiteboard, that if something has gone wrong, you erase it and start all over again. 7th of October, 2021, 4:15 p.m. will not come back again. So we have to tell our students the importance of time, that time should not be wasted. You must plan your studies. You must plan whatever you want to do. And in the examination, time management is important. We have to tell them how you can complete your 45 questions in 90 minutes. And this is possible only with proper time management. Because some questions, say concept-based questions, will take lesser time, provided your concepts, the concepts of the students are on a very, very strong wicket. विकेट की बात करते हैं, क्रिकेट तो चल रही है तो विकेट की बात करेंगे.
Absolutely.
It's a national game. So concepts of the students have to be very, very strong. And I personally believe that the first section A part can be completed in not more than 10 to 15 minutes, which leaves more time for doing the application-based questions and case study-based questions. But how? Only when we teachers teach them concepts, we make their concepts clear. And for every transaction, for every treatment, in accountancy, there is a reason. And it is a very, very logical subject. For no treatment, for any treatment, there is a reason behind it. Either they are the conventions or the principles or the concepts or the accounting standards, which play a very, very important role. But we have to, as teachers, now focus on, besides the time management, focus on the concept clarity and their application of accounting principles. For every treatment, we must tell our students why we are doing this, why we are not doing it this way. Why? It is said, when why is clear, how becomes easy. So we have to answer why for every topic, every part of the topic that we share with our students. So I have certain PowerPoint presentations too, but before that, few points which are very, very important when we teach our students. It is understanding the question, how to understand the question, and what the question is asking you to answer, and answer that. It means students should read every question, every word of the question paper with extreme concentration. Concentration is very, very important. I will share with you my personal experience. When I was taking my CA exam, intermediate, like every student, I was also very afraid of mathematics. And now I realize why I was afraid. I was afraid because my teachers told me that mathematics is very difficult and you must work hard on it. I didn't work hard on it, but the word difficult went into my mind, and which stopped sending positive signals. And yes, we must tell our students, nothing is difficult, nothing is impossible. Only thing is concentration should be high. And concentration plays a very, very important role. I was sharing with you my experience when I was taking my CA exam. Mathematics paper was before me and I blacked out. I could not understand even a word because in my mind, it said it's difficult. But in the CA exam, you can't leave the hall until 1 hour is over. So I had nothing else to do. I just put my head on the table, and by the grace of God, the concentration came back. And I could finish my paper in less than the time allotted and pass the exam with fairly good marks. So that is the power of concentration. So we have to tell our students, never ever let your concentration go down. In accountancy, English plays a very, very important role. The language or the use of words in the question can change the entire question. In this MCQ era, we must tell our students what are those words like never, always, all the above, none of the above. These are some of the words which can change the question asked. So we have to tell our students that you must be extra careful when you face such words in the question. Another thing, this also is related to time management. Calculations, calculators are not allowed. Yes, it's one of the constraints, although I'm not in favor of it, but yes, constraints are constraints. So they must increase their calculation skills. Otherwise, what happens? A 1 minute calculation may take 2 minutes or 3 minutes. And as a result, they may not be able to do the complete paper. And they must know the skills, how to do the calculations in a shorter period. So in this, my PowerPoint presentation, I am going to use some of that and also share with you my views on various things, like how to do the MCQs, what all precautions we must take. So with your permission, ma'am, I will start.
Please, sir.
So normally, you see, what I believe that we must know what are the constraints or what are the parameters within which we have to perform. Normally, I find that teachers, our colleagues, have some confusion about the syllabus and the learning outcome. They say learning outcome is more than the syllabus. Although in the syllabus, certain topics are deleted, they still appear in learning outcome. But learning outcome is what the board expects us to teach our students. So it has to be more than the syllabus. But CBSE has clarified that examination question paper will be set from the prescribed syllabus and the question paper design. So it's again clarified that syllabus is important from the examination point of view, but knowledge is, for knowledge point of view, the learning outcome is important. Another question which normally comes is, can the question be asked from chapters in term 1, in term 2 examination? Broadly, no, but certain parts, say goodwill, profit and loss appropriation account, they are equally applicable in the case of retirement or death, which are in term 2. Another question which normally has in mind, and this has an important bearing, but in term 2, is there any change in syllabus regarding writing of discount or loss on issue of debentures? Yes. Now the board says that it is to be written off from securities premium reserve, capital reserve, and statement of profit and loss in that order. So this is important. So if you have balances in securities premium reserve, first write off from there, then use capital reserve, and still if balance remains out of discount, then write it off from statement of profit and loss. Projects के अंदर भी बहुत सारी कंफ्यूजन्स हैं कि प्रोजेक्ट कैसे बनना है, एक ही प्रोजेक्ट बनाना है, that too to be divided in 2 parts, term 1 and term 2. The project taken up in term 1 will be extended to term 2. Both have been divided equally, half of 10 marks, and board has clarified that term 1 examination will be on the based on accounting ratios. So when we are preparing the project, I think because accounting ratio is in term 1, use accounting ratio as a tool for projects. Should each topic be discussed in detail, in depth for term 1 examination, since it is MCQ based? Now, here comes the question of how to teach pedagogy. If we look at the MCQs, they are nothing but part of the numericals. If we look at the application-based MCQs. So if we can, if out of the one numerical, we can frame about 3 or 4 or 5 MCQs and put together, it can become the financial statement. If we look at the numericals, what we were doing till now, till last year, we had 4 or 5 4 or 5 adjustments to make. So what are they? Basically, they can be converted into MCQs and placed in the numerical. Internal choice will be there, yes. Internal choice will be there, but section-wise, not question-wise. In section A, 18 questions are there, so 15 have to be done. Similarly, in section B, now many a times a question comes, what if a student does all the 55 questions? Now we have to understand, if we don't know what CBSE is going to do, how we are going to tell our students. So it is important that we also know. For that, we must be looking at the CBSE circulars. CBSE has issued a circular, which all those related to chemistry, but it shows the policy. They say only the questions to be attempted will be marked, not all the questions. So we must tell our students that in section A, do 15 questions. In section B, again, do 15 questions. Not more than that. Because if some questions are done wrongly and they are marked, student loses. Question paper design, we have already discussed, so I'll skip this. Should class 11 examination be taken term-wise based on MCQs like class 12? Yes, I think CBSE has said that class 11 examination should also be on the pattern of class 12. So we must respect, we must follow what the board says. Now, framing of multiple choice questions. This is a very, very important, because as teacher, I must know how should I prepare the MCQs. मुझे multiple choice questions कैसे बनाने हैं और कैसे नहीं बनाने. So suggestions are, question should clearly imply a specific direct question. It should not be ambiguous. For example, this is quite an ambiguous question. Hari and Pari are partners, and they admit Dev as partner for 1/4 share. He took 1/5 of his share each from both the partners and balance in their profit sharing ratio. Now this becomes a very complicated question. It does not justify 1 mark. And it will be difficult for student to understand. I strongly believe that we are testing the student as to his accounting knowledge. We are not testing his knowledge as to English or mathematics. So calculations have to be simple, language has to be simple. Yes, word will make difference. Avoid using 2 negatives in the stem of the question or the options. It leads to confusion. If we talk to an American, what does he know about it? He will say, I do not know nothing about the accounting principles developed. I do not know nothing. So it confuses. It will take some time before we realize what the person is saying. Similarly, if a student who is very raw, he also should not be given the situation where he is not able to understand. Only one of the 4 options should be correct. And as far as possible, other options should be close to being correct. For example, if a question is, this has been making rounds in the various WhatsApp groups. What is the most important characteristics of partnership firm? It should have at least 2 partners. It should not have more than 50 partners. It should be registered. Registration is not essential. Now, what is the most important characteristic? For me, it can be at least 2 partners. For another person, it should not have more than 50 partners. So there are more than 1 correct answers. And this is an opinion-based question, which should be avoided. And if there is a opinion-based question has to be framed, then it has to be framed on the opinion that is commonly accepted. Like goodwill is paid by the gaining partners to the sacrificing partners on reconstitution of the firm. This is an accepted opinion or accepted position. Question should be described, expressed as briefly as possible, but without sacrificing clarity. Responses should also be similarly framed. Responses should be expressed in simple language as the stem of the question is. Serial number of correct options should not follow a pattern. It should be random. So in first question, maybe option A is correct. In second is, say, D is correct. Third and B is correct. And then again, A is correct, like that. It should not be in the common pattern. Otherwise, what will happen? Student is most likely to follow this pattern. They will observe it and answer accordingly. The distractors should be less correct than the correct posers, but attractive to the uninformed. So uninformed thinks that, yes, this option is also correct, this option is also correct, but only one option has to be correct. MCQs should not be opinion-based, because opinion-based questions, answers to the opinion-based questions are never incorrect. Like if I frame a question, how will you show share capital in the balance sheet of a company? You ask me, how will I show it? How it is shown in the balance sheet. That should be the correct, because if the question is how will you show, the way I answer it's correct. Once a teacher asked a student, please give me the spelling of crocodile. How will you spell crocodile? He said Krocodile. But she said, no, that's not the correct spelling. But he said, yes, it might be wrong, but you asked me how I will spell it. So if possible, avoid using the option none of the above or all the above. In this era of IT education, dear friends, I think we must try to animate the PPTs, making it very interesting. I have one PPT which I will share with you soon, and I'm sure you will like it. A colleague of mine has developed it. I have not developed it. So I will also, in my view, we must tell our students how they should be attempting the MCQs. Because MCQs, okay, they have been taking the examinations of MCQs. Earlier it was 25% weightage. Now it is 100%. But they must know how they should be attempting it. But first of all, again, I am coming back to that it is our responsibility that while teaching, we make the concepts absolutely clear to them and make them understand the application of accounting principles. This will help them in solving the MCQs of concept-based and application-based. Understanding what is asked in the MCQ is essential. It is probably the biggest challenge for a student. So we have to, as teachers, guide our students that what the question is asking, what are the important points in this question. Unless or until we prepare them for this, they will not be in such a position that they score 100% marks. For that, understanding the question is extremely important, especially in the MCQs. Not preparing well for answering MCQs is the first step towards poor performance. Teachers, sometimes I feel that the questions the teachers raise, our colleagues raise, such as, should we do numericals with our students? Because this time the question paper is going to be MCQ based. But unless or until we do the numerical with our students, how do we ensure that they have understood the concepts, they have understood how we have to reach there, why we are treating this particular entry or a particular transaction in this manner? To my mind, we must share the numericals with them, because MCQs, application-based MCQs, are nothing but part of a question itself, numerical itself. Casual, careless approach for reading the MCQ and leads to poor performance, poor understanding and poor performance. So first 10-15 minutes, which the students will get to read the question paper, we as teachers have to ensure, we have to keep on telling them that these 10-15 minutes are extremely important for good performance in the examination. So when you read the question, read each and every word of it. I'm going to share some illustrations on this. Special attention should be paid to words such as which is not, all the above, none of the above, except, always, and never. Whenever they are used, they will change the meaning of the question. So we have to pay special attention whenever such words are used. And also, where the question has two possible correct options, we must pay special attention to it. And all this will come with lot of practice. Concept clarity, application, and thereafter lot of practice. And it is our responsibility as teachers to give them the maximum material to practice. And so that in this IT era, we can always use the various platforms where such material is available so that no time is wasted. Student must evaluate answer to the MCQ to assess the correct option. If the option surprises the student, we must tell them. If it surprises you, do a recheck on the question. Read the question all over again. That too again word by word. And whether it is correctly understood or not. And very importantly, rarely a question will come which has not been discussed in the classroom. Because after all, the questions will come from within the syllabus. So we have to tell our students, be always attentive. And when you are attentive, somewhere in your mind, that question will remain. And if that question comes in the examination, this material which is there in your mind will come up and you will have the answer. Because our goal is very simple and straightforward. Answer should match the question that has been asked. Eliminate the simpler processes out of the 4 options. Maybe 1 or 2 are such options which are totally outrightly, we can say they are not correct. So eliminate them, then concentrate on the balance. If still the answer is not determined, make a reasoned guess. Why I'm saying we must tell them to make a guess, because there is no negative marking. So student in all circumstances must attempt 45 questions out of the 55. So day in, day out, it is the responsibility of us that we tell our students that first, why this is, what's the reason behind this? Concept clarity, application of accounting principles, and thereafter calculation skills, and also the time management. Then practice a lot, because practice makes everyone perfect. Cricket is a very big example. We know the cricketers, how long they practice. Because in the cricket match, they hardly have time to practice. Stop the ball or set their eyes in. So let us see some examples of correct and incorrect MCQs. The most important element of partnership is profit should be shared by the partners. There should be an agreement. Business should be lawful. Business should be carried on by one or any of them acting for all. So this, why it is not a correct answer? Because it is opinion based. Because for me, option A is more important. For another person, option B is more important. So such questions cannot be MCQ. Only one question. You see, if we give such questions to our students, they will be all confused. And it is our responsibility not to confuse them. We must ensure that they have clarity at all times. Amar and Raman are partners. Goodwill is to be valued at 2 years purchase of last 3 years profits, which were 20,000, 30,000 and 40,000 respectively, on profit sharing ratio changing to 2:1. The value of goodwill in your opinion will be, now in your opinion, that means we are asking for the opinion of the student, examinee. So it can never be correct. It is a opinion-based question. Rather, the question should be the value of goodwill will be. So this question is also incorrect. Interest on capital is always an appropriation of profit. Therefore, it is transferred to the debit of profit and loss account, profit and loss appropriation account, drawings account, capital account of the partner. No, this is also incorrect framing. Why? Because of the use of word always. If you remember, we had just spoken about the special word should be taken care of. So always word जो है, उसने इस question को बदल दिया. It is not always that it is an appropriation of profit. It can be a charge against profit also. So question is incorrectly framed. So student should be very, very careful in this case. It is always, so is answer. What will be the answer out of this? There is no option. Hari, Sunil and Anil are partners sharing profits equally, which they change to 3:2:1 with effect from 1st April 2021. The capitals of that date were 5 lakhs each and balance in current accounts were 40,000, 30,000 and 20,000 debit respectively. On that date, balances also existed in general reserve of 1 lakh and workmen compensation reserve of 1 lakh, against which workmen compensation claim was 50,000. General reserve and workmen compensation reserve credited equally to their capital accounts will be 1,50,000, 2 lakhs, 2,50,000, none of the above. Now, what is important in this? Important is that their capitals, on that date were so and so and balances in current account. That means capitals were maintained on fixed capital basis. Now, what is the question? General reserve and workmen compensation reserve credited equally to their capital accounts. So it will be none of these. So one sentence has changed. If this word was current account, yes, then we will have to calculate. We have to tell the students, be very careful. Now, such questions will not take more than 30 seconds to answer. This is what will be the time management. Another question. A, B, and C are partners. C retired on 31st December 2020. The accountant prepared the financial statements as on that date. Share of profit of C was determined as rupees 2 lakhs. Which account will be debited to transfer C share of profit? Profit and loss suspense account, profit and loss appropriation account, profit and loss account. None of these. So this is also the concept based. Concept is that since the financial statements have been prepared on 31st December 2020 on the date of retirement, that means profit and loss appropriation account will be prepared. So it will be through profit and loss appropriation account. So these are all concept based and not taking more than 30 seconds because no calculation is involved. So it is correct framing of. Now the surprise. This was made by my colleague Harvinder Singh, which I am sharing with you. This is based on Banega Crorepati, ABC. And if we prepare such PPTs, it will be very interesting for students. Partnership deed on or agreement did not exist at the time when partner gave loan to the firm of rupees 2 lakhs. At the end of the year, the partners agreed to pay interest at the rate of 8% per annum. Interest on loan by the partner will be paid at the rate of 6%, 6% per annum, 8% or nil. Or you get the timer also. Timer of 30 seconds. Suppose you answer C. It's not working. Answer is C. And if we prepare slides like this, I'm sure student will enjoy more. Art integration का बड़ा जोर चल रहा है. But art integration is with the MCQs and the current COVID-19 situation, art integration may not be possible, but yes, we can make the PPTs interesting. Now, assertion, this has created a lot of furor, the teachers are really confused. What are assertion reason-based MCQs? It's nothing. If you are able to prepare the MCQs, you are also able to prepare the assertion reason-based questions. And what is assertion? Assertion is a statement that on certain issue, it may be correct or it may not be correct. But there are again some suggestions for framing the assertion reason questions. Assertion is a statement which may be concept-based or application-based. Both are possible. It may be correct, true or incorrect, not true, but should be brief and unambiguous. Statements, assertion has to be very clear. And reason is an explanation of assertion. The student has to follow the steps. We have to tell him, yes, first you determine whether the assertion is correct or it is not correct. Thereafter you come to reason. Determine whether reason is correct or not correct. And if it is correct, is it a correct explanation of the assertion? Then that means assertion has become a base. We have to see assertion, reason, whether reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. It may be or it may not be. If an MCQ, like MCQ, it must have 4 choices. And if we look at the sample question paper, dear colleagues, we have about 3 and 6 assertion reason-based questions. And the choices are not same in all the questions. So that makes us, we must alert our students that whatsoever may be the situation, you must read all the options and assertion reason-based questions also word by word. So somewhere the sequence is different, somewhere the words are different. And again, like MCQ, it should not follow a pattern. 4 options of question, maybe in different order or maybe in the same order. Assertion, let us take few examples because time constraint, I'm trying to hasten up. A partner is a principal and also an agent of other partners. Reason is the definition in the Partnership Act 1932 states that the business of the partnership may be carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Now 4 options. Assertion and reason both are correct, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Assertion and reason both are correct, but reason is not correct explanation of the assertion. Assertion is correct, but reason is not correct in the context of assertion. And assertion is not correct, but reason is correct. Now, how students should be, we must tell our students how to proceed. We must first of all determine whether assertion is correct or not correct. Assertion that a partner is a principal and also an agent of other partners, this assertion is correct. That means option D is eliminated. Now we concentrate on rest 3. Now we come to reason. Students should read the reason. The definition in the Partnership Act states that business of the partnership may be carried on by all or any of them acting for all. This is, reason is also correct. So that means that if we look at option A, assertion and reason both are correct, but reason is correct explanation of assertion. Yes, this is possibly true. If we look at B, assertion and reason both are correct. Up to now, the statement is correct, but reason is not correct explanation of the assertion. No, reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. So this option is also gone, and also the option C is gone. Assertion is correct, but reason is not correct in the context of assertion. So by eliminating, we get the answer. So for this also, Again, I am again saying that we as teachers must give our students clarity as to their concepts. Because if the concepts are clear and students have practiced a lot, paper can be easily done. We are easily completed in less than 80 minutes. Yes, calculation part of the questions will take longer time, but that is part of the time management. We have to tell our students, your concept-based questions, that is section A, should not take more than 10 minutes in answering, at the most 15 minutes. So they have to plan accordingly. Another question, in the absence of partnership deed or agreement, interest on loan by partner is showed as mutually agreed rate of interest, which is 8% per annum. So it says that there is no agreement, but yes, the partners agreed to pay interest at the rate of 8% per annum. So that is the assertion. Reason is, in the absence of partnership deed or agreement, the provision of Partnership Act 1932 applies, and therefore interest on loan by partner will be allowed at the rate of 6% per annum. We have to choose the four out of the four options. We have to choose one which is correct. So for assertion is correct. So that means options D is eliminated. Come to second. Assertion is correct, but reason is not correct. But A, before that, A, assertion and reason, both are correct, and reason is correct explanation of assertion. No, it is not. Because assertion says 8% per annum, reason says 6% per annum. So this is also gone. Now the fight is between these two. So option C is the correct option. Because the partners have agreed to pay interest at the rate of 8%. Now this is a question of concept as well as application of Partnership Act. So how this precision will come? Only by practice. Now this is a question on discount to be allowed on reissued shares. Assertion says the company has forfeited 1,000 shares of rupees 10 each, on which it had received 4 rupees for 4,000. That means 4 rupees per share. The company can reissue these shares at rupees 5 per share. Assertion. And reason is forfeited shares can be issued at a price that is less than the amount not received by the company on forfeited shares. So what is the option? 4 options. Let us see. Assertion is clearly incorrect because shares cannot be reissued at a price lower than it has been, the amount has been received on forfeited shares. That means A, B, and C all are gone because in all the 3 options, it says assertion is correct. So such questions, again, less than a minute. This is how we have to tell our students, yes, prepare it this way. Work on the concepts. Their mind should be working in different dimensions at the same time. कहते हैं ना multitasking. So multitasking mind, which is the call of the day. Even the professionals, they are doing multitasking. For a minute, they are on Income Tax Act. On another minute, they are on the Companies Act. So that way, student also, simultaneously, their mind should be working on concepts as well as application. So that is for us to tell them how they can do it. Another question, capital account of partners may not show debit balance in spite of regular and constant losses year after year. Reason, when capitals are fixed, all transactions other than that of capital between the firm and the partner are recorded in the current account. So 4 options. When we look at the assertion, yes, assertion is correct because capital may not show a debit balance. So when it says assertion is false, assertion is true, all those options are eliminated. So only option left is B, assertion and reason both are correct. And reason is the correct explanation of the assertion. So how quickly we can do the question? This is about security scheme and resolve. So if the student is clear about the utilization of security scheme and resolve, again, the student can answer it in no time. So it means student has to practice a lot, and it is for us teachers to make them practice. I'll take this last question because time is very near. That was allotted to me, and my co-panelist, Mr. Ashish Sani, he also has to take up the topic on NEP and assessments. So last question I'll take: gain, profit or loss on reevaluation of assets and reassessment of liabilities is credited or debited to partners' capital account in their old profit sharing ratio. A firm with 3 partners sharing profits equally change their profit sharing ratio to 3:2:5. Assets are increased by 1 lakh and unrecorded liability by of rupees 40,000 was brought into the books. Will be credited to their capital accounts equally. So option is, we'll delete eliminate all the incorrect option. Option A is correct because assertion and reason both are correct in their old profit sharing ratio. And since in the assertion, old profit sharing ratio is not given, that means they are sharing it equally. So this information, although not given in the specifically given in the question, but it is clear. So I think I'll sum this up. We as teachers have to ensure that our students get answer to why we are treating this particular transaction or a particular entry in this manner. Their concepts will become clear. Their applicability of accounting principles will become clear. We must make them practice as many questions as possible from whatever source they are available. They must do the numericals also, the complete question, because MCQs are nothing but a smaller part of the numerical questions. Time management during the preparation and during the examination, they are very important. Concentration has to be kept at the highest level. And above that, we must be accessible to all our students. Whenever they have any doubt, we should be readily available to them to clear their doubts. And I thank Dr. Mukta Mishra for organizing this webinar at such an important time when the examination pattern has changed and also the education imparting of education system of imparting education has changed. And the examination is not that far away, but yes, we still have time in it. We must encourage our students that they must have the conviction, I can do it and I will do it. And this can be brought in by all of us together amongst our students. So thank you very much. Any questions, I will be here to answer.
Thank you very much, sir. There is a question in Q&A box. You can check the question. It's about the internal examination. I think you have already addressed it. Internal examination is there in semester 1 and semester 2. Yes. So you have already addressed that answer.
You see, if both the examinations are held online, or even part 2, term 2 examination is held online, then internal assessments will play a very important role. And because that will be counted, taken into consideration for final assessment of the student.
Thank you, Grewal sir. Thank you so much. And our sincere apology, Mr. Ashish Sani, as we announced in the beginning itself, that he had a fall and he has the fracture in his
Yes.
backbone. It's a hairline fracture in his backbone. We requested him to take rest, but he is gracious enough to start it, but his health is not permitting. So he has quit the meeting. And I'm really, really thankful to Dr. Grewal. I think each one of us there are so many messages in the chat box for such knowledge, and the way with the simplicity you have shared. I'm not an accounts person, but as a language person, I'm just recollecting what Warren Buffett has said on earning. Never depend on a single income, make investment to create a second source. On spending, he said, if you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. On saving, he has said, do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving. On taking risk, he said, never test the depth of the river with both your feet in. On investment, he said, do not put all eggs in one basket. And on expectation, one of my favorites, he said, honesty is a very expensive gift. Do not expect it from the cheap people. So I'm having my lovely participants here with sincere apology. We need to take a pause here. And I request Kriti ma'am to kindly extend the vote of thanks for Grewal sir. Thank you, Grewal sir. Over to Kriti, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening to one and all present here. I would like to express my gratitude to respected Dr. G.S. Grewal sir for deliberating on the topic experience accountancy for safe, sustainable societies. With your expert guidance, gave us a real insight and motivate educators to design their future classes. Few pointers to remember. Concepts should be cleared to get answers correct. Students should read each and every word written in the question paper with extreme concentration. There is a change in discount or loss on issue of debenture is to be written off from the securities premium reserve, capital reserve, and statement of profit and loss in that order. Also, a student will be able to answer MCQ correctly if he or she has concept clarity and understands the impact of accounting principles. Therefore, it is better to discuss the topic in depth. Some suggestions for framing MCQs. Questions should be clearly imply a specific direct questions. Avoid using two negatives in the stem of the question or the portion. It leads to confusion. Only one of the options should be correct. Another option should be close to being correct. I also would like to thank Mr. Ashish Sani sir for joining today's session, and Samurja wishes you a speedy recovery, sir. A special thanks to Dr. Rajesh Sachija sir and Dr. Ashok Pandey sir providing immense support. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Mukta Mishra ma'am for supporting us in organizing the talk show. I must thank the teams, Samurja, especially Monica ma'am, for working tirelessly to make this talk show another success. Thank you, everyone. Namaskar.
Thank you, Kriti. Thank you for the expressing this thanks. Sir, Grewal sir, I would like to share, Kriti is a French teacher. तो आपने फ्रेंच टीचर को अकाउंट्स पढ़ा दिया. She has taken the notes. So that's the charisma of your wisdom and expression. Sir, during our informal conversation, you were sharing about an app. And I was really, I'm not an accounts person, but I'm really impressed the way you have developed. In case you wish to put up, you can put up in the chat box. Any of your colleague, you can put up the link in the chat box, and or you can put the your contact detail where the people can contact you.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Anybody will be putting in the chat box, sir? You want us
Yes,
to?
yes. He's just putting in. My colleague is just placing it in the chat box.
Okay. Dear lovely teachers, I said that I don't remember a teacher or a student without a book of having a book of Grewal sir. Sir has with his team has developed an app also which has more than 15,000. Am I right, sir?
No, 1,500.
1,500 questions on accounts, and the app name is Grewal Conceptual Learning. We have seen in the chat box. The children, they can download that app, and there are certain queries. I request your team member to kindly put some number also, so that in case some query is there, you can put your website or the telephone number, so that they can, it can be downloaded from Android or from iOS. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And Samurja will always remain indebted to you for your gracious present. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Josna ma'am. Lovely to see you here.
Wonderful.